Half of them are still in the name of the Lord. Them are tell no fly, but them are bird in a cloud. Taking the name of the Lord in vain. While the people in the ghetto feeling the pain. With their played out game, they're selling their soul for fame. Your brain run away, now you're going insane.
This bio video is about the life of Joe Paquette, who is better known by his stage name Prince Ital Joe. He was a reggae artist and he is best known for his featurings with Marky Mark and artists from the Death Row Records label. Prince Ital Joe had a unique voice and style that allowed him to add a cool reggae vibe to the tracks he was featured on. And his lyrics were also quite funny on some records. For example, on the track What's Next featuring Tupac, he said, "If you spit in the sky, it's gonna drop in your fucking eye."
Remember, if you spit in the sky, it's gonna drop in your fucking eye.
Prince Ital Joe was born in the Commonwealth of Dominican and moved to Brooklyn, New York at the age of 13 with his parents in 1976. After completing high school, Prince Ital Joe moved to California to pursue his dreams of acting and entertainment. Before getting into the music business, Joe worked for over 10 years performing at private Hollywood parties and clubs. From 1988 to 1990, he supposedly worked as a concert promoter in the Caribbean for acts like Ziggy Marley. In 1993, he teamed up with rapper Marky Mark and they released 2 albums, Life in the Streets in 1994 and the remix album in 1995. And music videos have been recorded for several tracks on those albums, and those tracks are titled United, Life in the Streets and Happy People. The song United was released in March 1994 as the 3rd single from their debut album Life in the Streets. It reached number 1 in Germany and the top 10 in several European countries such as Austria, Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Sweden and Switzerland. And this music was very different from the music that he would record later when he was working with Death Row Records artists. After the remix album, Marky Mark and Prince Ital Joe split up and he then moved to Suge Knight's label Death Row Records. Prince Ital Joe was already familiar with the label because in the early 90s he was in contact with Dr. Dre and the Dogg Pound during the period of the legendary album by Dr. Dre titled The Chronic. And more info about that comes up later in this video. Besides recording music, Prince Ital Joe also did some acting and he appeared in the Steven Seagal movie and in the TV series Easy Streets and Players. In the movie Marked for Death, Prince Ital Joe was a criminal who was killed by Steven Seagal, who was the main role in the film. In his career as a music artist, Prince Ital Joe collaborated with many Death Row Records affiliated artists and also other rappers. He was featured on hit records from Dr. Dre, the Dogg Pound, Tupac, the Outlaws and Snoop Dogg. And a fun fact is that Prince Ital Joe supposedly sold weed to Death Row Records artists. In an interview, rapper and producer Dez from the Dogg Pound said, "When we made Dre's The Chronic album, we was buying 2 bags of weed from Ital Joe, rest in peace. He had a shop right next door to the studio." On the track Smoking Off Bud by Snoop Dogg featuring Jewel, there's also a reference to the provision of weed by Prince Ital Joe. In the beginning of the song, Snoop Dogg says,
"Shit, straight tripping, man. Boy, Tresor ran out of bud. I tell Joe going back to the islands. I need a hit, man. Shit, I ain't had a hit in about a week."
So clearly Prince Ital Joe was somebody who provided weed for the Dogg Pound rappers. Prince Ital Joe was also featured on the unreleased track titled Mr. Officer featuring Dr. Dre, RBX and Snoop. This track was recorded for the legendary Chronic album but eventually didn't make it to the final release. It was an early draft for the track The Day the Ends Took Over, but on the version that was released on the Chronic, Prince Ital Joe was not featured. And if you want to know more about the history of the Chronic album and all the leftover tracks, you can check out this video on the channel. Prince Ital Joe had also worked with Tupac during the Thug Life era in '93. That was years before Tupac officially got signed to Death Row Records. And he was featured on the track titled Thug Life that was for the original Thug Life album, but it didn't make it on the final release. When Tupac was signed to Death Row, they also worked together on various tracks, and Prince Ital Joe was featured on the Makaveli album on the tracks Hail Mary and Blasphemy. Anyway, if you want to know the full story about the Makaveli album and all the leftover tracks, make sure to check out this video on the channel. Prince Ital Joe was also featured on other tracks with Tupac, such as What's Next, and also on the unreleased demo version of the famous diss record Hit 'Em Up. And this track can be found online and it goes by the title Hit 'Em Up 2, but it was actually recorded as a demo before the Hit 'Em Up record that was later released. And the released version and the demo version are both diss tracks to artists from Bad Boy Records and rappers from the East Coast. On the demo version, Prince Ital Joe stands up for Tupac and basically mentions that New York rappers must show respect for Tupac. He was also featured on top-selling albums from Snoop Doggy Dogg and the Dogg Pound. Here you can see an overview of the tracks he was featured on and on which album they appeared. As you can see, he was featured on the albums Makaveli, Dog Food, Retaliation, Revenge and Get Back, The Dogfather, and also on Doggy Bag. On the House of Blues DVD, Prince Ital Joe also made a short appearance on stage together with the Dogg Pound when they performed the track Respect.
Respect to the death row inmates. Death row inmates like them never hesitate to bust a gunshot.
He also worked together with artists like Badass, The Outlaws, Gonzo, Swoop G, YGD the Top Dog, Richie Rich, Superfly, and E40. And some of those tracks have not been officially released but can be found online. And during his time with Death Row Records, he also recorded an album that was never released, but years later the album was leaked online. It featured several well-known names like Snoop Doggy Dogg, Dez, Corrupt, Badass, The Lowlifes, Coolio, and Dub C, who's known from the group Westside Connection. There's also an album that was released in '98 by Prince Ital Joe titled Reggae Universe. As the name indicates, this album is reggae oriented instead of rap. It's a whole nother vibe if you compare it to the tracks that he recorded with Death Row artists, but if you like reggae music, it's actually a great album. It has 20 tracks on it, and this is the full track list and back cover for the Reggae Universe album. Prince Ital Joe was married to Paulina Paquette and they had a daughter, Princess Nashida Paquette. Unfortunately, Prince Ital Joe tragically died from injuries sustained in a car accident on May the 16th in 2001, and he was only 38 years old when it happened. So that was really a sad situation, and this video was made as a tribute to Prince Ital Joe, who was a great addition to the tracks he was featured on with his unique style. Make sure to drop a comment below to share which Prince Ital Joe songs are your personal favorites, and if you have any additional information or stories, make sure to share them as well. If you have any suggestions for other video topics related to Death Row Records, also make sure to drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel and hit the notification bell if you want to be immediately notified when a new video is uploaded. Make sure to check out the channel for more interesting videos related to Death Row Records. Thanks for watching, and until the next one.
Hypocrites and parasites, sucking the blood of our paradise. Aye, hypocrites and parasites, sucking the blood of our paradise.